So today we've got a new shipment in from Kenda Tires. They sent me some new toys. So these are the Regolith Pro. They're a tubeless ready tire, so you can use them tube in or tubeless with the sealant. These are going to go on the Hammerhead another day. What's going on today is we're going to put these tires on the everyday chair. These are their Paradigm wheelchair tire. They have a real low profile tread. They're meant for pavement and just everyday use. They are a black tire, they're a carbon tire, but they are a non-marking tire. So these shouldn't leave any sort of marks on your carpet or on your floor or stuff unless you pick up dirt, which you will. So that's unavoidable. But anyway, these are they're a 25-inch wheel that I'm going to put them on, otherwise known as a 559. And so we're going to put these on. This is the first time I've ever used the Paradigm. They're a new tire for Kenda, new tread pattern and stuff like that. So I'm going to put them on and give them a rip. The ones I had on from the previous that are all worn out were the Kwick Trax. And I've got to say those really held up well. I've done both the gray rubber version and the black rubber version, and both of them handle about the same. Both are good in wet conditions, which none of us in chairs really want to be in the wet conditions. So that's here nor there. But so we'll get a tire up here, and then we can start changing some stuff out. Forgot my tire sticks. For those of you who haven't gotten them yet, Pedro's tire sticks, so far, I haven't gone through that many pairs just because they work so damn well. I have had these things, I got turned on to them years and years ago. And I think I've broken maybe one. And I've changed a lot of tires. So they didn't sponsor me for this. I bought them myself, but I bloody love them. So first things first, changing a tire. You want to let all the air out. These ones are still holding air. The tread is just shot. So they're down almost to the inners, into the inner part of the actual rubber. So definitely want to change those out. They're more susceptible to flats with no tread on them at all. They don't handle well in the wet. They have no traction really whatsoever. So you definitely want to swap them out. The nice thing is I've got Spinergy wheels and Kenda tires. And these guys must have talked way back in the day because this tire and wheel combination, everyone has fit perfect. Not too much struggle to get them on and off when I change them out. And also, I've never had anyone roll off the bead or come loose. Whatever they did, they talked and they got their specs in just right. So the nice thing is with this, again, because of the fit, only need one tire stick. Just pop it underneath the bead, flip it over, and then just run it all the way around. Get the one side off, and then you can just take your thumbs here on the back side of the tire and just pop the tire off. Don't hit yourself in the face with the tire because that hurts. So there's the tire and tube off all by itself. Those you can toss to the side for now. Usually what I like to do is I'll go through and clean, wipe down any dust or anything that's on the tire or on the rim itself. You know, make sure there's nothing in there that might cause a flat or something later on. You want to look at the wheel and see, now that you've got the tire and tube off, you want to see if that rim strip on the inside is still in good shape. It's not dry, it's not torn, because the spokes will come through or they'll pinch on the tube on the inside and it'll cause a flat. So make sure that that rim strip is good. It's nice and clean inside. I know my wheels are clean. I just did it here not too long ago. So wiped everything down. All that's good. Also too, I mean, while you're at it, you can always take a look at the spokes, see if any of your spokes are loose, if there's anything going on. I've got D's locks on mine, so you can see there's the lock ring. So you want to take a look at the lock ring, make sure it's got all its screws, they're all nice and tight. You know, just any wear, any damage, stuff like that. Also too, if you've noticed a push ring, if one of the mount bolts is loose, like you start hearing it creak or something like that, you'll want to change, you know, tighten that stuff up. But you'll have to take the rim strip off to do that. So I'm not going to do that right now because everything I've got is nice and tight. So no worries there. So now here's the thing. I'm a little bit OCD, a little bit. So what I will do is when I put the tires on, one, these are directional tires. The way the tread points, that goes towards the front. Now, most people will say that it doesn't really matter which way you put these tires because we're in chairs, we're not going the speeds like a cyclist would. That would really warrant the tread pattern being fully maximized. Me, it's an aesthetic thing. Tires are supposed to point forward, so they go forward. So you make sure that they're facing the right direction. These little tags off. A lot of times what I'll do too is I'll run my finger through the inside of the tire just to make sure, or a rag, like a microfiber rag, make sure there's no debris or anything inside that tube. Again, you don't want to have this thing all together and all of a sudden you get it all together, you get it pumped up, and boom, you get a flat. And have to do it again. So preventative stuff works out well. The other thing, like I mentioned, with me having a little bit of OCD, is Kenda has their branding, you know, that tells you what the tire is and their name and all that sort of fun stuff. So what I'll do is I actually take the Kenda logo and I'll actually put that where my valve stem is on the rim to show an easy way when I go to refill my tires, you know, down the road. It's really easy to just look for the nice white logo and boom, I know that's where my valve stem is. Some people, you know, no big deal, but that's just me. So what you'll do is you'll take the tire and you put the one side of the bead in the rim, and then you can go on the inside here and just work it around with your thumb. Get that inside on. Now we're ready to rock and roll. So luckily my tubes are still in good shape. So actually, no, I forgot, that one's not. So I'm gonna replace the tube as well while I'm in there. That one had a slow leak in it, so definitely want to swap that one out. And I just so happen to have enough Kenda tubes as well. If there's any of you out there that don't know, there's two different styles of valve stems on the tubes. You have your typical Schrader valve, which is what you see on every car tire. It's the larger diameter and it's got the piston on the inside. I tend to use Prestos more often. They're more from the cycling industry and they hold higher pressures. These ones are a long skinny one and they usually have threads on them. And the piston is actually on the outside. It has a little piece that you have to unscrew to loosen the valve stem so you can put air in and out. So that's what this one is. The other thing is too is the valve stem has a threaded part to it that has a lock ring that holds the valve stem in place. So one of the benefits I found was when your tires are super low, sometimes with a Schrader valve, that valve stem will push back into the tire makes it kind of hard to get the air compressor piece on to pump them back up. So with these, because they lock in place, that valve stem doesn't want to slide in. So what you'll do, take the cap off and the lock ring. And then what I'll do is just fold the one little part over, put the tube in, and then, where did I just toss my little lock ring? Ha! Ta-da! Put this on there, and you don't want to tighten it down too tight when you first put it on. You want to give the valve stem room to adjust once you put air in it. And then you take the tire and bring it over, and then I just take my fingers and really nicely, you want to make sure that this doesn't fold or get bunched up at all. You want to make sure it goes in nice and easy. Man, I'm already noticing this tread, there must be an inner, like a puncture resistant layer inside here. This tire is substantially stronger than the Kwick Trax. Already I can tell. So yeah, you just take both your hands and you work this gently all the way around, making sure it stays inside the track of the tube. Sometimes they have a little bit of powder on them. Makes it a little bit easier to get the tube in. This one went in fine for me, so I'm not really worried about it. And then what you'll do is you'll take the other side of the tire and you'll push it in, making sure that the tube goes in before. You don't want the tube getting pinched in between the tire and the rim itself, because once you start to blow it up, that'll pinch it and you'll have another flat. So you just kind of work your way around, and you'll get to a point where it wants to start pulling on the far side. So this is where you take both hands and you just work them together. This is where it takes a little bit of oomph sometimes, but again, Kenda does a nice job of their tolerances being really right on. Wow. Okay, I say that, and this one's being a bit of a bugger. So if it is, take your tire stick, you put it in here inside the actual bead like you did before, only backwards, and you just kind of massage it around. You find where the leverage is, and there, it just took a little bit, pop right in. Then take your handy dandy pump. There's different compressors and stuff out there. There's all different ways to pump a tire up. I just use a typical foot pump most of the time. It's just easier that way. I light up the compressor and let it fill up and do its thing, make a lot of noise, but this isn't so bad. So typical foot pump, grab down at the bottom. In the very beginning, when it's low pressure, you can just push super easy. What I like to do is get a little bit of air in there. And once you see it's kind of formed a bit to the tire, what you want to do is you want to make sure, look at all the way around and make sure that the tire is sitting in its bead. And I notice right here, it's not seating just the way I want it to. So I'm actually going to let the air back out. And a lot of times where the valve stem is at, it's a little bit, it bunches up a bit. So those are kind of notorious for it not wanting to go in all that well. what I'll do is I push the valve stem back in and get it out of the way so that the tire has more room to go in. And then again, just take my tire stick and just kind of massage it in. Might take a little bit, but should go right in. All right, let's give that another try. Now, the other thing too is a lot of the pumps, especially the cycle pumps, they have an end that will automatically fit either a Schrader or press a valve. You just put it on, clamp it down, and it tells the difference between. Let's try that again. There it goes. That's exactly what I wanted. Now these tires are, where is the pressure? These are 130 psi max, and that's a stout, hard tire. I usually don't recommend going to that maximum pressure. You're more susceptible to punctures and flats and things like that because you've got them just maxed out. So usually what I'll do is I stay right around 110. If they say 130, I'll be like 110, 115. If they're, say, the last ones were 125, I kept them around 105. And you want to check your tires fairly often. The tire pressure will dictate whether your like scissor locks or your wheel locks will engage fully or not. So you want to make sure they're always up to pressure. Now, for me, I can get up to, on this pump, about 80 pounds doing it this way. And then you get to that point where it's really hard to push. So what I'll do is I'll bring it in and I put it in my shoulder here, and then I take both hands and pull. Gives me a little bit more strength to be able to pull that last bit of poundage out. And there's 115. Get that off of there. Now, this is when you'll want to tighten down that lock ring. Make sure it's nice and secure, holding that valve in place. Tighten the little piston down. Put your valve cap on. And, give it another look over. See how they look. Looks pretty doggone good to me. So, that's how you change a tire. Got these new ones on here. I'm going to do the other one, and I'm going to give these a good ride and see just how they perform. So stay tuned until the next video, and give you an update on how they work.